Today we're talking about logo design and branding for Fit Pros. James, before we started recording, you said you got something that you want to get off your chest. You were getting quite passionate about this, so I'll just hand it straight over to you so you can... Cathartic, we'll call this for you.
I'll appreciate that. Thank you so much. I don't understand how fitness professionals can... How do I best explain it?
Be nice.
I am trying to be nice. Yeah, I am trying to be nice. Don't worry, I'm being nice. But they don't consider this. And I think this is something where you're going to bring up in a second now because we talk about this off air. It's the fact that they want to charge more price, the high prices. They want to be seen as professionals. Yet they've got photos of them on a camera that literally is all blurred out and looks like it's been done with a cheap like 1999 Nokia phone on their website. Or they've got a logo that looks like a 7-year-old has drawn on a fridge for their mum and dad, and they're really proud of it. And they think that's perfectly normal. And it's like, if I don't understand why they don't see it. I just don't understand how they don't see that and understand that. Like, that represents them as a brand. It represents them as a person. If you come across as cheap on your website through your photos, through your logo design, therefore, you only can charge cheap. You know, the value of the people who perceive you is cheap. So why aren't we thinking about this long term? Now, we can get a professional logo, right, and branding stuff here done fairly cheaply with the right designers and with the right people on Fiverr.com. So less than £40-50 or $50 or so. You can find something that's good enough to begin with. And that's important to understand. It's like not about spending thousands, and we can share our mistakes in a second now. But it's sharing the guys that we can find something that looks professional for now, it's good enough for now based on your budget, but it doesn't look like something your 7-year-old niece or 5-year-old nephew made for you to look on front of here now. But that ties back into like the photos. Like Josh, like you going from an acting career, talk to us about photos and stuff on like actors' profiles and bios and stuff, because I think it's a really valid point.
Yeah, we had a meeting with our inner circle guys the other day, and I almost said it on the meeting, and then I stopped myself, and I thought, I don't want to upset anyone, but this was as a former professional actor, and I want to emphasise the word professional there because I was. And you could not be a professional actor without a quality headshot. No chance. No self-respecting actor would not have a quality headshot. And that was one thing when I graduated from drama school towards the end, before we went out into the world. We were all told you need to get, decent headshots, and obviously people shared photographers and stuff like that about who they've been to or who they potentially go to from contacts and stuff. Now you could the cost you could pay over thousands for certain photographers. Of course you could, but then again there were good photographers. I think I generally paid between $250 to $300 for my headshots. I think I had a couple of different ones over my career, and they were fantastic because the photographer was professional. That was their job, about taking professional actors' headshots, and it just as I say, no self-respecting actor would not have a quality headshot. And then it was like, well, why? Now we're in the fitness world. Why is any self-respecting fitness professional not having quality, not headshots, but quality photographs on their website? Now, you don't need to go and get an acting, someone who takes headshots for actors, but there may well be, photographers in your area or students who are up and coming who are slightly cheaper. Maybe you can search on Fiverr for people in your area. So especially if you've got a facility, you want good quality pictures of your facility, do you not? So you can sell your services. Exactly.
Josh, but just very quickly, touching on about why is it important to have a good quality headshot on your website for an actor? Why is that important?
Because it's so competitive in the acting industry that if you haven't got a headshot, the casting director just look at it and straight in the bin. They wouldn't even give you the time of day.
Exactly, and that's the point I get to. So they literally look at it, they'll make a snap judgment literally in less than 3 seconds, like they do on your homepage of your website, and they'll decide, is he professional or not? And if it comes across as amateur, he's going to be an amateur actor, so they bin it. What do they think people do with websites and photos of these guys too, of fitness professionals? So it's this idea of professionalizing your fitness business, coming across as a professional coach. And a professional coach has high quality photos and imagery showcasing the work that they do around the message that they're trying to clearly deliver. That's what we're trying to do and get across. So it's not like, yes, certain photos will look good on your phone. Certain photos will look good here to share with your family. Certain photos will look good to have on your personal Instagram page or whatever, but to share family stock photos and stuff like that. But if you haven't got a professional image on your website to showcase you as a professional, you'll come across as amateur. And that ties into the logo.
There are some stock photos that you can get away with. You can get away with initially. Some that don't necessarily look like stock photos, but if you've got stock photos everywhere, you do start to notice. You're like, hang on, that's just a stock picture. So you've got to start. Maybe initially, you can get away with that, but then you've got to start replacing with some quality photos of you, your target audience, your facility if you've got one, etc.
Yeah, and it's you've got to have that, but it's this aspect of this is like logo design and branding, right? So logo, you need to have a good logo. It looks professional and modern in today's world. You can do that on fiverr.com from loads of millions of graphic designers around the world. That's fairly straightforward. Branding is different. Branding encompasses everything that you do. It's your messaging, it's who you are and want to be and become, essentially. So it's more than just colours and logos. It's about, do you epitomise excellence, high quality, that sort of high luxury almost, right? Because everything needs to come across the same way. Like Audi, you would never see Audi do a crappy photo from a selfie stick going, hey, here we go, here's the latest new Audi, come here. They let their followers do that, right? They let their brand advocates do that. Whereas you've got to have something here. So logo and brand design as a white belt, okay, if you're earning less than $2,500 a month, I know you haven't got much money and that's fair, that's understandable. So what you do is you go to fiverr.com, get $50 and it's good enough. It'll take you through to purple belt. So, but when you get to around the $15,000 a month sort of mark with your business and you have good profit margins, now we've got to look at expand this branding. And this is where you've got to hire a high quality logo designer and branding expert so everything becomes on point, because that then elevates the cost and the presence of your brand even more so. And that's what we do here. So yeah, we have these high fancy graphic designers that work with us, but we've earned the right to get there. Now, we've made loads of mistakes in the way.
Well, we can come back in a second and talk about the mistakes. But Andrew, what's your opinion on all this?
I'm listening intently as almost as a podcast listener here, because I'm agreeing with everything you say, and I'm thinking back to the mistakes I made in the past where I didn't put enough emphasis out the gate of having the right logo and branding in alignment with where my business was at that time. As James says, purple belt, we do purple belt stuff, and we get those elements into play. And I blame that there must be some rich logo designer out there, because the amount of logos I've looked at over the years within the fitness industry, they all have that similar look and feel that we're alluding to here. So someone's sitting on a Caribbean island somewhere, I think, and equally those that use Comic Sans font, think it looks clever, but that takes away that professionalism of the overall look and feel of what we're trying to portray as business owners. But in essence, we've got to find a starting point, and our brand will grow and develop over time. So, Apple, if we think of Apple or Audi, that they've made refinements over the years. Their logos now aren't how they were right back in the day, and that's what we need to do. We need to figure out where we're at, what level within our black belt system we are, and then do the necessary elements to get into the game, essentially.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, what we might consider a good looking logo or a bad looking logo, somebody else might look at it and go, I think that's great. That's the problem. Is it? I don't know. I like to guess I consider I'm from an artistic background, that I've got a fairly artistic eye and I have a good sense of what looks good and what doesn't. How do people know? That's the thing, I guess.
It is a personal feel, it is a personal way to do it, but I think there's a universal way of looking professional, and I think there's, again, we put a lot of emphasis on print media and high quality looking media. That's what we've done for years, and we know what looks good and start to build well in the brand. The strength matters. Those aren't always used to that. So what looks good maybe on a website or sort of like a logo on its own, but when you put it into context with text and imagery and in a printed book, it can look amateur. And I think that's the expertise and the experience that we bring to the table, is that we understand this. We know what looks good in print, because you need to have something that looks good in print, website, Instagram, all those sort of things, and combine it together, but gets read well as too.
Yeah, perhaps keeping it clean and simple is a good place to start. Not
Always
overcomplicate your image. Yeah.
Clean and simple is the best one in terms of logos, absolutely. And keep it simple in the colours. Don't try and do too many bright colours, or like a what's the word? Like a bit of a gradient style to it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just don't do it.
That was like about late 90s, early 2000s style.
Probably, yeah.
Yes, maybe.
Probably.
And just look to share it. Just look to share. Once you've got the initial draft in play, that's to the level that you can look to share to get some feedback from your peers, from folks like us. We've got a great community here at Strength Matters, so where our members are able to share ideas, questions, concerns, challenges, and they're able to get some great feedback from those.
From your target audience.
Yeah,
exactly.
Client.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. James, you want to talk about briefly before we finish up the mistakes we made?
Yeah, straight away. So obviously so before Strength Matters was Kettlebell Fever. And I literally had a logo made for me about £150 by somebody down the road. And it was good. It was good enough. But then I met somebody through B&I who was a former brand director for Audi. And it was just someone speaking to him, was talking to him. And I was like, oh, wow, this sounds amazing. Let's get this done. So I had the Kettlebell Fever logos designed by the designer from Audi. And it cost me £5,000. And I was like, yeah, it's going to look really good. It's going to get me loads of business and pull in loads of people. It's going to be great. No, didn't make a difference at all. Right, I just spent about £5,000 on that. Then I did the same thing again for Strength Matters, exactly the same thing. So essentially, we've got a brand, and it's grown with us over time, and we have refined it with our new designer Nemanja behind the scenes here, who does some of the work for us as well to refine the logo to make it stand out more and more visible. Josh, you're wearing a nice little hoodie there today, see, with the Strength Matters. That's the old logo, actually. That's the old logo.
It's the old logo.
It's the old logo. We changed it up so it's more visible, so you can read the text better. And that's working with the man in our designer now. He's currently was employed by the head of Hugo Boss. He's now a freelancer, so he's another person working with high-end brands and stuff like that. So that's the caliber of graphic designers we try and find and work with. But we did the same again. We paid another $5,000 to get it all done. It all looks great now, but we've had to refine it over time. What I wish I did was start off small and not worry about the logo so much, but get the colours a little bit right, black and red, black and white. Those sort of things, and build up over time. I think I wasted so much money on those high-end designs that I could have invested better into the business to do better things long term. So those are mistakes I made right at the start of my whole fitness business career that I don't want you to make. I would go back in time, go into Fiverr, make something for £40. Then when I've earned the right, then go to the next stage when I have money in the bank, designed for that stuff to invest back into the company. That's the best way to put it.
Because there are some great, as you say, make something for 40, 50 quid. There are some good designers on there. You can get a good looking logo for that much. We're not talking spending thousands. And again, add on to that, I would find yourself a decent local photographer and start getting some good images on your website. Andrew, anything you want to add to that?
Just with the photography side in closing, go onto Google and look for student photographers in your area, because there's a number of online businesses that have those students. They're photography students, as I say, so they've got the basic skills, and they can do some incredible work for really, really affordable rates. And so I would be looking there.
Fantastic. Nice one, guys. Excuse me. That is it for today. Please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. And if you want to find out what's holding you back from growing your fitness business, you can get yourself a free website audit. You can go to strengthmatters.com/audit.